workshop on the liquor store building and the City Hall Library building plans. The attached USDA letter and staff report for additional information options.
I guess, Your Honor, to start the discussion, just to go back very briefly, the library board and friends of the library, as you might call them, have been working very diligently for a long time to make a new library a reality in the city of Rushford. It's clear to me, and certainly was as I was waiting my turn to come in and interview with the council, that the library is quaint, but it doesn't. It's filled its purpose. We need to do something different with what we have. The question is where do we go? Understanding the level of detail that the library board has undertaken with their space studies, the studies that they've conducted on several other buildings in the Rushford area, and the fact that they've got drawings for a new building. The council then authorized staff to hire Jose Rivas, who's here with his associate, to just do a very quick, very brief sketch planning of this building and the Muni, because those two buildings are the ones that are in question. We already know what could be programmed for the vacant lot downtown. We don't know to the same kind of certainty what we could program in this building for City Hall and City Hall or library down at the Muni. So that was the intention of the exercise that we just went through. As you will recall, we didn't spend a whole lot of money, still money, but I think you got some pretty good concepts that we can then consider for the future. If we at least start from the standpoint and agree that we need to do something with the library, then we have to ask ourselves, what should we do? And there are of course some options in front of the council. One is to construct the new library building as was proposed, and the library board has actually scaled down the building to about, I think, 7,500 square feet. It's a $1.7 million building that could then be fairly easily expanded in the upcoming years, if so warranted. If not, and electronic devices end up ruling the day, then 7,500 is probably an okay sized building for whatever collection that they would have, both print and electronic. We have done an analysis, and I'll pass this out to the council. I think you've probably all seen this before, but just to jog your memory. We had Mike Bubani do an analysis based upon utilizing the USDA funds. I think you've both seen these. USDA funding that was secured for the project. Reallocated the FEMA money from the community center using the $20,000 10-board levy, and then fundraising. And as you can see, it increases the debt load to the community, obviously, but there's a one-year spike, and then it sort of levels off after that. Now that scenario that you're holding in your hand takes into account Highway 43 project, and it also takes into account the bonds that were just issued today. So, in my professional estimation, is it feasible for the city of Rushford to build a new library for $1.7 million and still have money left over to outfit this building to some extent for City Hall? Yes, it certainly is, if you look just at the city of Rushford. What we control, what we don't control is the school. And there was an article in today's paper, in the Rochester paper, the editorial about the need for a new school. And it talked about the levy, and it talked about, I believe, a 17% property tax increase for a $9 million levy on the taxpayers. District-wide, not just in the city. I think if we look at the school and a new library, you start to get into that realm of the taxes are getting really high, the property taxes. And so because of that, and because of looking at things in a more global sense, that I believe the council needs to take under consideration. New school and a new library, is it doable for the taxpayers of Rushford? I would suggest that would be very difficult to do. So then it comes down to this building and the Muni as the options that were explored today, if the council decides to move in that direction instead. I can't state with any certainty that the Muni building is going to be the right size, whether it is now. I think the library board would suggest that it isn't. And I think the library board would suggest that it certainly isn't for their 50-year plan, which is what they're looking at. They want a building that they believe will last them for 50 years. But what is true is it gets you about 4,500 square feet versus the under 2,000 square feet that they have right now. If you look at the dollars and the estimates of cost, again, council may feel that we can't even afford that. I would again suggest respectfully that I believe this community can. We can afford to outfit that building as a library or this building, depending on which direction you want to go. And then when you get back to the financing piece as well, FEMA needs USDA needs a decision on that funding, and they need it fairly soon. We're going to have to make a decision if we intend to use those funds. If we don't use those funds, then we're going to be in a pay-as-you-go situation, and that's going to be very difficult for us to pull off and to get anything done, and so that it's even remotely usable, either space. So my recommendation is that if we're going to move forward and reuse these two buildings, is that council should offer us some direction, the staff some direction as to which building you think would be appropriate for which one, or tell us that you'd like to build the new one, and we can go forward on that as well.
Before we go into anything, when we went up to the council, what do they call it in the cities? What was that? We were up there.
League of Minnesota Cities newly elected officials conference.
I want to read something that this guy that led us through for Minnesota cities. Projecting city revenue and expenditure trends into the future revealed that all types of Minnesota cities, cities of every size in every region, will be broke by 2015. That includes us and every other city in Minnesota. Number one is your LGA funding is going to disappear. And the times that we're headed into. Isn't that what he told us?
If you choose to believe it,
Well,
I don't think LGA is going away. I think people are still going to fight for it.
Goodview has gone away. A lot of that's gone.
Goodview's gone.
A lot of it is.
I don't understand what you're saying, Roger.
What?
I don't understand what you're saying.
The LGA money.
They're still getting LGA.
Not as much as they used to.
No, not as much as they used to.
We're not either.
I've been in 2 cities that have lost their LGA. They're still there. They're not broke.
No.
I think there's ways to mitigate this suggestion.